Apparently, there's been a hack where 2.9 billion records were stolen, including the social security number of every American. This is the second cyber incident that we had in less than a month.
You can't say that.
Is he allowed to say
I'll
that?
say it louder. I recently did a video about CrowdStrike, and on July 19th, an update was pushed, and thousands of administrators lost access to their computers, giving them the Windows blue screen of death. I talked in that video about how our over-reliance on computers is a major vulnerability. And now, less than 30 days later, the social security numbers of every American have been stolen. I'm going to be honest, I didn't know the implications of having your information stolen. So I looked it up. I wanted to know what kind of damage can be done if someone steals your social security number. One thing that I learned was employment fraud. So let's say somebody takes a job and instead of using their social, they use yours. They decide to do as many exemptions as possible. So instead of paying those taxes up front in their check, they're saying, hey, give me the money and I'll pay it on the back end at the end of the year. So maybe instead of being taxed at 24%, they're getting taxed at 10% or whatever the lowest bracket is. But the full amount is counted as your taxable income because it's under your social. So at the end of the year, the IRS is looking at how much money you've made, and it looks like you just have unreported funds, even though that money never hit your bank account. And now you owe twice as much as you thought you would. Problem one is you've had your identity stolen. And problem two is 1 in 5 Americans have no emergency funds at all. And 1 in 3 have just enough to afford a $400 emergency, but nothing more than that. How is someone that experiences this type of fraud supposed to pay that tax bill? How are they supposed to get this resolved in a timely manner so that they don't get behind and get crushed by the weight of all their other bills on top of this bill? Basically, the sum of all of this is identity fraud. They could take out loans in your name. They could have criminal charges associated with your name and social. Just all types of legal troubles for you. I was recently adjusting my health insurance, and one of the options on there was identity theft protection. I talked to my wife about it, but we decided that we weren't going to pay the extra money because we probably wouldn't need it. So it's ironic that less than 2 weeks later, we have this exact scenario, which just goes to show that we would have wasted money paying for that insurance because we wouldn't have been protected. So I guess the skepticism for insurance paid off in the end. Kind of. I'm not entirely sure what it is we're supposed to do now. Just wait and see if our identity gets stolen? But if someone buys a 67 Mustang Fastback with the Goodyear tires using my name and credit score, I'm reporting it as fraud. Disney is telling the family that they can't sue in a wrongful death case because the family signed up for a Disney Plus trial. Check this out. A family goes to Disneyland. They end up having a meal, but before they eat, they say, hey, I'm allergic to this stuff. Is this stuff in the food? They're assured that it's not. They have a back and forth with the waiter. The waiter even checks with the chef.
Surprise me.
But 45 minutes after the meal, the wife starts to asphyxiate and ends up dying in the hospital. So the family tries to sue, but they learn that the terms of service of the 2019 Disney Plus trial says that they can't. The case is still ongoing, so there's a long way before we get to a resolution. But the husband is arguing, I signed up for the Disney Plus trial as an individual, but I'm suing you on the behalf of my family's estate. And honestly, to me, this is a strange hill for Disney to die on. No pun intended. The wife asked multiple times if there were allergens in the food and any accommodations could be made, and she was assured that they could. The family is only asking for $50,000, which is extremely low. I'm asking for at least a 7-figure number, partly because the family tried multiple times to make sure that the food was safe, but also because the wife was a doctor, so they're losing out on all of those future earnings due to Disney's negligence. Putting the clause that you can't be sued as a part of the terms of service of one item and applying that to every entity that you own is absurd. Imagine if car manufacturers said, when you use our remote start app, you lose your right to any maintenance recalls. The fact that this is becoming a public story is not a good look for Disney. They've already had a ton of financial struggles over the past couple of years, and now this is putting a spotlight on their shady business practices. I guess Mickey Mouse really is just a dirty rat after all.